Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Central Florida Computer Society for Sunday, September 8th, 2019. We meet the second Sunday of every month right here on the internet or in the library in Castleberry, Florida. I'm sitting in Bradenton, Florida, about 120 miles from the meeting, where I moved about 5 years ago, and we have continued the Windows Special Interest Group via the internet to the group sitting in the library in Castleberry prior to their main meeting. And we've invited people from around the world and around the country who would like to join us and be online with us. And we welcome all those who are here from around the country, and actually from, I got one or two here from Canada as well. So glad to see all of you online. Glad to see everybody here in the audience. And let me get started with my schedule for today, which is sitting right here. And we're going to start with the Justice Department. So we're going to click that to say that we did it. We haven't done it yet. And then I am going to go here, and we're going to start with this and start with this. And I got a little yellow line there that I didn't want to have. I think there's a way of erasing it. Let's see. No, I know what I did. I did it in we'll just leave it alone. Okay, the Justice Department indicts 80 over massive business email scam. Well, this came from TechCrunch about a week or so ago. The Justice Department has indicted dozens of individuals accused of involvement in a massive business email scam and money laundering scheme. The U.S. Attorney's Office, well, I got all kinds of little lines going on there, don't I? Is that me doing that, or is that somebody else doing it?
Nothing we're seeing.
Well, you're not seeing it. Okay, good. Okay, you don't see a lot of little yellow lines there?
No.
Okay, well, it's on my screen then. Okay, there's a 145-page indictment, but let's see. Today we've taken a major step to disrupt the criminal networks. And these business email scams rely partly on deception and in some cases hacking. Scammers send specifically crafted spear phishing emails to their targets in order to trick them into turning over sensitive information about the company, such as sending employee W-2 tax documents so scammers can generate fraudulent refunds, or tricking an employee into making wire transfer to bank accounts. The FBI says these impersonation attacks have cost consumers and businesses more than $3 billion since 2015. But the two people that were the main people were Nigerian nationals, but they're also residents of California, and they're running the operation. The alleged fraudsters are accused of carrying out several hundred overt acts of fraud against more than a dozen victims, generating millions of dollars worth of fraud over several months. Unbelievable. These two guys were essentially brokers of fraudulent bank accounts by fielding requests for bank account information and laundering the money obtained from the victims. The two lead defendants are accused of taking a cut of the stolen money. Then they allegedly use illicit money exchanges to launder it. Several bank accounts run by the fraudsters contain more than $40 million in stolen funds. It's not a small thing by any means. No, but they did catch them. That's the good thing. So that's that item. Let's go to the next item here on my list for today. Google Photos can now search for text in images. And then I want to talk about this a little bit. Sounds like a good idea. And Google Photos can now search for text in images. Google is making it much easier to look for specific images with text through its Photos app. Over the years, there's object recognition, but you know what? I tried to make it work so I could show you, and it doesn't work very well. I am not sure whether it's actually out in the wild or whether they're still talking about it, because it looks like this feature will work even on ordinary pictures. So it may not be available yet, but to show you what I mean, let's just go out to, let's see here, take this, go here, and go to the right account, and then go to my Google Photos. And I have to go here. Long way to get there. Anyway, let's go ahead and full screen this so other things aren't bothering us. Okay, here's all of the photos in my photo album. And what I want to do is search for, let's take M-A-R-R-I-O-T-T for the Marriott and click on it. And it found one instance of it. But I've got a bunch of pictures out there that have Marriott on the front of a podium, so there should be a lot more there, and there isn't. And then let me show you that I have one picture that's got the word shrimp in it, and when I type in shrimp, if I can spell it right, all I get is a picture of some shrimp. The Google Photos has been able to do that for a long time. You can put in an item, and a lot of times if you put cat or dog, it's going to find pictures. So let's just show you. If I do dog and then press enter, it's going to find a lot of pictures of our dog and other dogs and so on. So that works very well. That's not a dog, that's a goat. That's me right there, and I have a black eye there from a baseball bat from our playing in our backyard many years ago. Let me show you that picture just to bring it up. Got nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's somewhere's in here. Well, anyway, I'm not going to waste your time with that. But I don't think it works very well yet. One thing about searching pictures that you see up here now, my Evernote. Evernote, if I want to look for a picture, and let's say I look for a picture that says mayor, I may have to switch groups, notebooks. Right now I'm just in the WinSig and I can't, but let's go to all notes. Come on. A lot going on, and it doesn't work well when I'm in Zoom, but it should start responding here in a minute. I did this the last time and I had the same problem, so I shouldn't have done it, right? I should learn by my mistakes. So let's, okay, there we go. And now I'm looking for the word mayor. No, I stopped it. Okay, so let's go back to, let's not worry about that right now. We're back here. So I'm not sure whether that's working or not. So, but it's supposed to work sometime in the near future if it's not yet. So let's go to our next item. Okay, the last meeting that we had, I was supposed to remind you about the Florida APCUG conference, and you know what? I forgot to do it. So I want to make sure right now that I do mention it. There's a big conference coming up here in Florida from APCUG, which is the parent company, or not parent company, but it's the association of user groups from around the country and around the world that most of those people that are online their groups are members of, as well as the Central Florida Computer Society, as well as the Sarasota Technology User Group, STUG. We're all members of APCUG, and they're going to have a big technology conference, and it's going to be here in Florida in Zephyr Hills. Now, there's not a lot on the website yet, but it's going to take place in Zephyr Hills on November 9th and 10th. The cost of the conference is $75, but that includes 3 meals, including one that's a sit-down meal. There may be 4 meals, I'm not sure, but I know there's at least 3. There's going to be round tables. There's going to be speakers from around the country. And it's a day-and-a-half event. It's all day Saturday and half of Sunday. And there's a special rate of, and it's $75 per person. And then the hotel is, the conference hotel is the Quality Inn, and they're giving us a group rate for $65 for a room. So if you come in and stay 1 or 2 nights, it's still going to be very reasonable. You'll probably fly into Tampa, and Zephyr Hills is right outside of Tampa. So I do want to encourage you, especially those people in Florida, to go ahead and register for the Florida Technology Conference from APCUG. And if you're around the country, by all means, join us. Okay, so that's item 3. Now let's get into some new things. Truly wonderful, helpful Windows 10 tools you might not know about. So let's take a look at those. And right here. I've got to mute myself to cough, and hopefully I'll remember to unmute myself. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. 10 truly helpful Windows tools you might not know about. The first one being the timeline. Microsoft rolled out its Windows 10 timeline feature as part of the April 2018 update, and it's, according to this article, it's awesome. I don't use it. Probably should. It's basically like a browser history for your desktop programs, showing files you've opened previously in chronological order. Selecting one opens the file once again, paired with the pickup where you left off in the modern Microsoft Office apps. You can be knee-deep in that project from 2 weeks ago in no time. Better yet, timelines tied to your Microsoft account rather than to an individual PC. So if you store your files in the cloud, you can pick up where you left off no matter where or which device you happen to use. And this is what it looks like. And this just opens up automatically whenever I do that. So this is what it looks like. And you can click, notice it says earlier today, yesterday. This was from the article, so it was April 8th. You can click on any of these and it'll open up that item. So you can, it's kind of like a history of different things that you've opened up within Windows. And it's called the timeline. Virtual desktops is a catnip for organization-obsessed power users. They're widely useful, letting you set up separate virtual versions of your desktop, each running its own instances of software. And it's kind of like having multiple monitors and only having one monitor, and you switch between them on that one monitor. Let's see if there's a picture of that. There is not. Okay, the Cloud Clipboard. I don't normally use it, and the reason why is I have been using a program since, oh gosh, sometime in the 1990s, I think, called Clipmate. But I'm having some issues with Clipmate. They haven't updated it probably in 8 or 10 years. And so I'm starting to have a few issues with it. And so I started looking at this Cloud Clipboard. It's a multi-device world. If you have the habit of hopping from PC to PC, Windows 10 synchronization features tied to your Microsoft account can make every system sit at and feel like home. With the October 2018, the contents of your clipboard can travel with you. The new Cloud Clipboard lets you copy text on one PC and paste it on another. It's a sterling combination. So if you're moving back and forth between a laptop and a desktop, this is very nice. And you turn it on by going to Start, Settings, System, and then Clipboard, and flip both toggles to the on position. And let's take a look at what that looks like. And every time I do that, it wants to open something here. So you turn on the clipboard history and then sync across devices. Now you don't have to sync across devices, but that's a good thing to have on. And then when you hit the Windows logo key and V, so if you hit Windows V, and I'll do that right now, you should see down in my corner here, let's see if I can move this around. I guess I can't. But down on the lower right are some things that you can look at that were in my clipboard. And so it does keep a list, and you can then utilize those and bring them up. And so you can copy something on your laptop. When you go to your desktop, it's in the clipboard, and you can paste it back into a document or into an email or something like that. Kind of a nice feature once you get used to using it. Nearby sharing I've never used. Sometimes you need to share more than just text among multiple PCs, and inevitably, when you can't put your hands on a trusty flash drive, enter nearby sharing. Another recent Windows 10 edition that uses the power of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Simply right-click a file, select the share option, and pick the destination local computer. Now, this is good even if it's your own computer. Again, your laptop and your PC are next to each other or near each other. You should be able to do this as well. And again, you can turn, you set that up before you can use it, and you go to Start, Settings, System, and Shared Experiences, and turn on the option to share across devices. You can choose whether or not the sharing feature works with any nearby PC or only ones tied to your own Microsoft account. If you do it with other PCs, make sure you shut that off before once you're done with it, so no one can access your computer without you remembering that you have that open. A storage sense, if you your recycle bin and downloads folder are the silent space eaters on your window. Over time, they can bloat to gigabytes and gigabytes in size, especially if you regularly update your discrete graphics and drivers and so on. Combat the creep, Windows 10 Storage Sense helps you to purge unwanted files in those locations automatically when specific user-defined scenarios are met. And again, for that, go to Start, Settings, System, and then Storage, and you can turn that on. File history. Sometimes you don't want to lose what you've left behind. Windows 10 awesome yet obscure file history feature keeps recoverable records of every change you've made to a document, taking backup snapshots of your libraries, desktop, contacts, and favorites every hour, although frequently the frequency can be tweaked. If you need to reclaim deleted text from a previous version of a file, file history may have your back. And then a secret power user menu. This one's really neat, and you probably have not used it. And then the God mode we've demonstrated before in this SIG, so I'm not going to go into that. But let's take a look at that secret power user menu as the last item that we're going to cover in this item. Come on. There we go. If you go to your Start button down on the bottom left, instead of clicking your left mouse button, click your right mouse button. And you'll see now you've got a lot of choices, including Event Viewer, System, Device Manager, Network Connections, Disk Management, Computer Management, Windows PowerShell, Windows PowerShell Admin, your Task Manager, Settings, File Explorer, Search, and Run. So all of those things are available just by right mouse clicking your start button. So that's a good thing to remember, because a lot of times you want to find those items or one of those items and you can't remember how to find it, and there it is jumping out at you.
Cool.
So let's go back to my list. This week, Microsoft announced the first PowerToys preview release for Windows 10. PowerToys were around in earlier versions of Windows, and they've kind of gone away, but now they've come back. And let's find the article, and then I'm going to demonstrate at least one. There's only 2 of them available yet, but or now. But let's see where we are here. There it is, and we'll bring it up. You can see this was just on the 5th. What's today? The 8th. So it was 3 days ago that this article. I found this article. Microsoft announced today that the first preview release of PowerToys utilities for Windows 10 is now available for download. In the Windows 95 era, they were first available. The Windows PowerToys were tiny freeware utilities created by Windows developers as side projects. They allowed users to play with Windows internals by tweaking and using undocumented operating system features. So, the first one that they mention is, let's see, to get started with the PowerToys, let's do that first. You have to download the installer, and there's a link on the page. Just click there and then install it. Once you install it, one of the choices is to have it start each time you start Windows, or you can start it on your own. I'm not doing it automatically, starting it. Only because I've got a lot of things that start automatically. But I did start it earlier, so it is running in the background. And so let me show you here. Available PowerToys. Right now there's 2. There's Fancy Zones, which I haven't used, but I am going to show you what it looks like. And then there's a shortcut guide, and I've got both of them on. And I have it turned off to start it log in, but you can turn that on and have it. Notice it's version 0.9.0. So it's still in the preliminary aspects of PowerToys, but it seems to be running fine. So now let's talk about the shortcut guide. If you're not using shortcuts, and I know Ted Goodwin is one person who really likes to utilize and does tell people use the shortcuts. Over the years, I've always used Control-C to copy something, Control-V to paste something, and so on. There's a lot of different shortcuts that you can use, but I always forget a lot of them. So with the PowerToy, what you do is you hold the Windows key down for a few seconds, and when you do, it opens this up. I'm going to let go of the Windows button, and it goes away. Well, let's push it down again, and you'll see that you've got the Open Action Center. You can display and hide the desktop. You can open File Explorer. You can open Settings. So let's just take a couple of these. Let's take the Open Settings. So and that's Windows I. So if I do Windows I and click on it, there's the Windows settings. So if you don't remember that it's Windows I, you just hold the Windows button down. There it is. You can click on it here, and then once you get used to it and remember it, then you don't have to do this. Or you want to open up the quick link menu or the temporarily peek at the desktop. That may close everything down, and I'll have to open them back up, so I'm not going to do that. But if you want to open up the task view, so you do this, and, well, anyway, I got a lot going on here, and I clicked on the wrong thing. So, and you got Windows controls. You can maximize, snap to the upper right, snap to the up, snap upper right, snap the upper right, or snap left, and you can do that from here. And then you'll notice right now I'm in the Windows window. Let's see if I can do this. Notice down here at the bottom is my taskbar. If I hold the Windows button, you'll see that starting on the left, they're numbered 1 through 0, 1 through 9, and then 0. So you can do the Windows key and number 3, and it will open up this item here, or the Windows item and the Windows key and number 8, and it'll open up my Notepad. And you can do that with whatever you have on your taskbar. The first 10, starting on the left, not counting the task view, but from the task view over, each of those icons have a number up through just the first 10, and they can be accessed very quickly by just doing the Windows 1 or Windows 2 or Windows 3, and it will open that particular item. So that's the first of the PowerToys. The other one is if you hold the Windows key down and hit your Tab key. No, let's do that again. I better go back to the article. As I say, I haven't used this. I've looked at it, but it's just not something that it's called Fancy Zones. One of the 2 PowerToys that was released. It allows users to define a set of Windows locations for a desktop that are drag targets for Windows. So when the user drags a window into a zone, the window is resized and repositioned to fill that zone. The Windows key shortcut guide, that's what I just showed you. So let's take a look at let's see. I got to remember how to do this. The PowerToy, the Fancy Zones, and let's see. No, I don't remember how to get to it now. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway, it is the second of the items. Maybe this will tell us. Helps organize your windows. I'm quite sure I've got it turned on. But it gives you zones, and you can set up, and it will remember how you place things on your desktop. So play around with that if you're interested. Okay, what are we at and how are we doing for time? We're doing good. A lot of people ask me, well, how do I get help in Windows 10? Well, let's kind of see how you do that. How to get help in Windows 10. Windows 10 has a built-in Get Help app that offers solutions to problems and even connects you to a human support person. That's just one of Windows 10's convenient built-in support options. Use the Get Help app. Windows 10 includes a Get Help application that can provide solutions to your many problems. You'll find it in your Start menu. Type in Get Help and click Get Help shortcut. So let's do that. Come on. And we'll type in here, Get Help. There it is right there, Get Help. And when we click it, hello. I'm the Microsoft Virtual Agent. I'd love to help you briefly describe your issue below. Well, it says reset my Microsoft account password, and I don't want to do that, but let's see what it says. Reset my. And then send it. Bingo. It tells you how to do it. And then it asks you if this worked. So that's so they get some feedback from it as well. So it tells you how to do it. So if you've got a question on how to do something in Windows, now this isn't using a program in Windows, this is in Windows, go ahead and just type in get help and type in what your problem is. Instead of going to Google and looking for it, let Microsoft find it right away for you. And then if you don't get a proper answer, then you can either ask for individual help. I believe they have people who chat back and forth with you, or then start looking in Google. But I would start here in order to help. So you just saw that. That's what the get help. You found that I found the get help. Press the F1 key for help in many applications. So if it's not Windows that you need help with, but a particular application, a lot of times the F1 key will give you help with that particular program as well. Find settings with the Start menu. We recommend using the Start menu search feature if you're looking for a setting or an application in particular. You want to connect to a VPN, you can just type the Windows key on your keyboard or click the Start button and type in VPN. You'll see a variety of VPN options in Windows. Now, I don't have any VPNs set up, so let's see what happens if I do type in VPN. There's the VPN settings within Windows, and then there's all kinds of apps, and then you can search the web as well. You can add a VPN connection, allow over metered network, and so on. So there are some ways in which you can get answers, again, just by typing in the search box. So when you're stuck sometimes, finding the answers in Windows, there's easy ways to do it. And then try the built-in troubleshooters, and there are some troubleshooters that will come up and they'll look something like this. Troubleshoot, get up and running, and you can click on any of these, and sometimes these will give you ways to get your answers. I've tried that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least you've got a shot at something when it's not working right. And then, of course, search the web, and then take advantage of Microsoft support websites, Microsoft's community discussion forum, just go to the Microsoft support website, and there's links to these in this article, so don't forget to go to that. Ask the Microsoft community. You can ask a question when you go to answermicrosofts.com, and when you click on ask a question, you can ask it, and sometimes you'll get answers from various Microsoft experienced users or people who work for Microsoft. That's that article. Any questions from the audience? I don't see anything in the chat box. Stan, anything there? Are we still connected?
Oh, we're still connected. Everything is great. And those shortcuts, I use Control of Windows key and D for desktop constantly. And I also like the Windows key and R to open the Run dialog box. So those two are very useful, I find.
Yeah, we all use different ones, but we don't use them all, and a lot of times we don't remember what they are. And by having that power tool, all I have to do is hold that Windows key down, and bingo, this pops up.
That's very nice, absolutely.
So what's our next article then? How to open the control panel on Windows 10. Okay, so let's... Windows 10 still contains the control panel. You know, you've got settings now that replaced control panel, but control panel's still there. Some settings appear only in the control panel, and some in the settings app, and some in both. And it doesn't matter if they're in both, it's still the same thing. So it doesn't matter where you get to. But here's how to find the control panel, which is a little bit more hidden than it was in Windows 7. So if you're a more experienced Windows person, or you've been around Windows, let's say in Windows 7, and you're just going to 10 and you can't remember how to do some things, or you want to go in and you know how to do it in control panel and you don't know where in settings, so you just click the start button and click control panel. In Windows 7, in Windows 8 and 8.1, you could right click the start button or press Windows X and control panel. Neither of those methods work in the latest versions of Windows. Still, launching the control panel in Windows 10 is very easy. Click the start button or press the Windows key and type control panel in the search box, and then press enter. Windows will search and open the control panel application. If you use control panel frequently, right-click the control panel's taskbar icon after launching it and select pin to taskbar, and then you can do it anytime you want. So let's kind of take a look and see what I mean by that. Well, there's the pin to taskbar. And then you can create a link as well. So, and put it on your desktop. So just type in here, control panel. And there it is. I didn't have to finish typing, and there it is. So when I open it, it's the old control panel. That's an easy way to find the old control panel. I know some of you, as I said, are diehard Windows 7, and you're just in the process of kicking and screaming into Windows 10, and this is important to you. Well, this is how to get to it. And then what you can do is, as I said, you can, let's do that again. Control panel. If I right mouse click this, I can pin it to start or pin it to the taskbar, or I can open the file locator. If I pin it to the start, and if I go to the start button, it's now down here. And I can then move that up if I want to, and stick it up here if I want. Or if I type in control panel, right mouse click, I can pin it to the taskbar, and now it's pinned there, and it will stay there until I tell it to unpin. So then if I'm going to use it a lot, let's say that a particular day, I can click it here, and bingo, it just clicked. Now, I did mention it in the Windows forum at the STUG, or Sarasota Technology User Group meeting this past week. Some of you may not realize the difference between your desktop icon and an icon that's pinned to your taskbar. If it's on the desktop, you've got to click it twice to open it. If it's pinned to your taskbar, you only have to click it once. And that's the reason to have it on your taskbar. But you can have an awful lot of things. As you see, I've got a lot of things pinned to my taskbar. I've got a large screen, so I can handle a lot of them. But you can also have it so there's 2 rows of them. But then you start, then it's not a quick thing. You still got to go looking for them. So then I use something called Fences for my desktop. And let's take a look at that. And I wasn't planning on talking about Fences, but that's what I've got here. So I've got all my graphics and audio things. So if I just move my mouse there, they all show up. If I want to go to my printer items, some miscellaneous, my backup, the Windows SIG stuff, I stick in there. These are roll-ups. This one isn't a roll-up. These are all my utilities that I use quite often. So I leave that open on the screen, on the desktop all the time. So that's a program called Fences, F-E-N-S-E-S, F-E-N-C-E-S. And Fences is a $10 program, but I use it a lot, and it really cleans up my desktop. So if you've got a million icons on your desktop and you can never find anything on it, you might want to, you can download, I think it's freeware, so you can download it, try it. If Fences does a nice job for you, you can then use it. And then all you have to do, if you right mouse click here, I can configure Fences. I can just go like this, and I can create a fence here, create a folder portal here, so you can do whatever you want. So Fences is a nice program, and just do a search on it. I wasn't planning on talking about that, so I don't have that in my notes. But if you have any questions about it, feel free to email me. Let's see, Lloyd said earlier, you can pin the Get Help shortcut to your Start menu and your taskbar. By doing this, there's no need to take your hand off your mouse at all. So that's a good suggestion, and thank you, Lloyd. And let's see, Windows 10 tip, the clipboard. We talked about the clipboard, so I can skip that. And Microsoft will update Notepad. This is an article, I can just tell you about it. I use Notepad a lot. The reason I like Notepad, hang on, let me, mute myself for a moment. I use Notepad a lot. What I like about Notepad is, let me go ahead and open Notepad. And then let me go to a website. And we've got this open, but let's go to the, oops. Come on. Go to the APCUG website, and let's say I want to copy something. They don't have a lot of formatting on here. Okay, let's take from here to here. If I do a copy, you'll notice that there is some formatting here. In other words, it's bold here, and it isn't bold here. And if I then go down to my Notepad and I just paste it, I'm doing a Control V. There's no formatting. All the formatting disappears. So if you got something really fancy on a web page and you don't want 17 different fonts, just copy and paste it in a Notepad, then copy and paste it out of Notepad, and all those fancy fonts and formatting disappear. And that's how I use Notepad a lot to do that. And so they're going to update Notepad, and then they're going to do it through the Windows 10 store instead of doing it through Windows itself, because they're going to update it apparently more often. Windows or Notepad is part of Windows, has been part of Windows forever. If you don't use it, as I said, I use it a lot just to unformat information. Pardon me. Let me open it up again, and I'll paste what I just did back into it. And if I then take it and I can tell it to do a word wrap or not word wrap, and if it doesn't word wrap, it just makes it all one sentence. So and then if I want to change the font, I can just change it to let's say 20. Say OK, and it changes the whole thing. It doesn't just change part of it. Let's see, format and word wrap. We'll turn the word wrap off, and you'll see that it makes it bigger. You know, but it does it to everything. You can't say, okay, I just want one line a larger font than the rest. So it's really nice, quick way to unformat something and combine it. The Windows Sandbox, I've talked about it in the last couple of meetings. So I'll quickly remind you what it looks like and what it does. Let's go ahead and shut this down. And what I'm going to do is just type in Sandbox, and there it is. Click on it. And what you'll see, what happens, okay, do I want to open it? And I'm not sure if you're going to see it or not. Yeah, it's opening Sandbox. And this is built into Windows now. But it's like you're opening up a separate copy of Windows that is not connected to anything else on your computer. And let's see if it's going to open while we're doing this. It should. I got a lot going on, so it may not like it. Here it goes. Maybe. Come on. There we go. And it opens up a separate window, and then you'll see if you want to try a program and see if it's going to do something to your computer, do it in the Sandbox. It's still working because it should come up and should have two icons on here, just like it's a separate computer with Windows running. And it could be because we're running Zoom and we're running all of these other things. There we go. And there it is. And so I can open up Microsoft Edge. I can install a program, and it'll only be in this window in the Sandbox. It will not install it on my computer. So it's a good testing place for you, and we'll go ahead and close it. Okay, so are you sure you want to close the Sandbox? Once Windows Sandbox is closed, all of its contents will be discarded and permanently lost. So anything you've done in there goes away, which is good. That's what the whole idea of it is. So that's the Sandbox. Some file sharing files. Just recently, I've had a couple of occasions where people have wanted to move some fairly large files, some videos, for instance. One of my neighbors did some short videos preparing for the hurricane that we had, and what he did was he did some short videos on his phone. He wanted to get them from his phone to his daughter up north. And so what he did was he said, okay, how do I email? And it's the files, some of the files were 135 or 140 megabytes. You can't email those. So what do you do? Well, there's some file sharing apps, and then I'll show you what we finally did. But let's take a look at those, the free apps. And let's see, we need to come back here. I didn't close that, did I? No, okay. And here. These are some that are available. And they're the fastest. One is ShareFast Me. I'm not recommending these. I'm only taking this article. I have not used most of them, but ShareFast.me is one. Dropbox Transfer. If you have a Dropbox, you might want to transfer using that, and you can share files with Dropbox. Another one is Pixel Drain, 100 terabyte file sharing. Offers the most amount of file storage. You can make full use of its features. In total, you can theoretically get 100 terabytes of storage for free, which you can also share with anyone for them to download. It lets you upload a file of up to 10 gigabytes. That's the size limit on a single file. However, you can keep uploading many files of that with that limit and turn it into a list to share. Dropcorn is another one. And again, there's links to these in the article, and one called TeraShare. But let me show you what I ended up having to do. And let's go ahead and I'm going to escape out of this and minimize this and minimize this right now and open up here, and I got to move some things that you can't see on my screen out of the way so I can do this. And I want to go to this account. The reason I'm going to this account is I do pay for 100 gigabytes of storage on this website, or on this account, I should say, and my Gmail. So let's go to Gmail. So if you have a Gmail account, you do get, I think it's 5 gigabytes of storage free. And so let's say I want to compose something, and I want to send it to Stan. I did click on compose. It's probably trying to open the compose. Still opening stuff up. Click it again and see. Come on. There we go. New message. I'm going to send it to Stan. And I'm just going to say file that I mentioned. And here it is. And I want to attach a file, and let's go out and find a Zoom file from one of these meetings. And here's one because I was out there, PC users group. So let's say I want to. This was I did a recording of a presentation I did to the PC users group of Connecticut, and I want and it's let's move my mouse over it here. Let's see how big it is. Come on. Yeah, it's not coming up, but I believe it's I think it's 135 megabytes. So when I click on it, bingo! It says large files must be shared with Google Drive. Attachments larger than 25 megabytes will be automatically uploaded to Google Drive. A download link will be included in your emails. Okay, I got it. Your file is larger than 25 megabytes. It will be sent as a Google Drive link. So it's uploading the file. Yes, it's a 135 megabyte file. It's uploading it to my Google Drive, and now it's there with a link. Now, if I right mouse click on that, let's see, how do I do this? I'm clicking it. And it's actually going to start it. I don't want to do that. It's processing it. So, but there is a way then. We'll go ahead and close this. There is a way in which I can then tell it I don't want Stan to be the only one to get it. I want anybody who's got the link to it. And how I do that is I have to then go out and send the link to devices. Let's see. Open the link in the new tab. Open link. Copy the link address. And if I go out to my Google Drive and I look at that file that's there, I can then share it by link or just to Stan, or I can put a password on it, and there's different things you can do. And then when I send this message to Stan, all he gets is the link, and then he can download it. So I'm sending him a 135 megabyte file without any problem at all. But I'm not doing it directly. I'm sticking it somewhere out on the cloud, and then he goes out and collects it and then downloads it. So let's go ahead and come back here. I'm going to make this smaller and minimize it and come back. So that's one way to copy and and send a huge file, plus some of those file sharing devices. Also, if you have Windows, automatically in Microsoft has OneDrive, and if you activate it, you can then go out to your OneDrive, and let's do that by, let's see, I'll go here, and let's see if this is OneDrive. Okay, here's my OneDrive, and if I go to APC conference videos, for instance, and there's some conference videos, if I right mouse click, I can then share, and if I click share, it then says, okay, do I want to send a link? Do I want to copy the link? And then there's some other things you can do. And then anyone with the link can edit, but I can allow editing. I can set an expiration date. I can set a password, and I can apply it. So you automatically, within Windows, if you put it in your OneDrive locally, it then uploads it to the cloud, and then you can share it from the cloud. So that's another way in which you can do that. Now, I'm going to skip to the last item on here, and that's audio sharing. Now, I just showed you how to share a video file, and you can upload a video file, let's say, to Facebook. Let's say I want to share a particular video with my Facebook friends. I can then go to Facebook, click on it, and upload a video or a photograph. But if you have an audio file, Facebook doesn't allow you to do that. Well, I have a friend here in the village that I live in who was recorded in a karaoke setting of changing the words to a particular song, and they recorded her singing it. And they wanted to share that with some of her Facebook friends. And they said, how do we do that? I know that's simple. And still I started looking, and there is no way to upload an audio file in Facebook. So what I had to do is figure out how to do that. And when I ended up finding this free service called Chirbit. And again, let me go here and find Chirbit. And instead of doing it this way, I'm going to go to the website. Chirbit is your audio your way. Chirbit is audio sharing for everyone. Create your free account, and that's what I did. You got to give them your email address and set up a password. Again, don't use a password you use anywhere else. And it's social audio. But once I did that, then I can sign in and I can upload a file to Chirbit, an audio file. Once you do that, it's like Bitly or some of the other website link shorteners. It gives you a short link to that file, and you upload that to Facebook. It makes a link within Facebook, and they can go out and listen to the file being hosted by Chirbit. So there is a way in which you can share audio files. Again, the file was too large for me to send, and she wanted to send it to several people, and a lot of those people may or may not know what to do, so it might be difficult for them to try to share it through one of the file sharing services. But by doing this, we were able to post it on Facebook, and they could go to Facebook and then listen to her singing the song. So I found that was interesting because I had never tried to upload audio. The other workaround that I came up with was to go within Facebook. I'm sorry, go into the audio file, and with some of the programs I have, make it a video file with either a picture, a blank picture through the whole thing, or no picture, just blank, and then upload it as a video file. And that was the other alternative that I came up with. But this worked out much better. And for the final thing, is convert PDF to whatever you want. And again, this is another website where you do it online. I happened to read an article in another user group magazine, and the editor was saying he was having trouble taking a presentation that he had done from PowerPoint and getting it into Publisher to make a PDF out of it, or a document file to create a tutorial for his readers. And so I wrote to him and I told him how I do that. What I do is, if let's say it's a PDF file, and let's go out and let's find a PDF file. Let's see. Just close. I hope I didn't close it. Yeah, but let's go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. I know what I did, so I don't even need to do this. I've got it down in my. So let's go to that website. Which is here, and from this, convert the PDF. Oh, not site. There we go. Here. So let's go to the website, which is pdf24.org, and I go to Tools. Now I have a PDF file, 4-page PDF file. I've not tried this because I didn't want to do it and then have it remember stuff. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but this is the final thing that we're going to cover today. So what I'm going to do is down here, let's make this smaller. I'm going to take this file and I'm going to choose the file. Okay, it's not a big file, but it's only 4 pages, and I want to format it to, let's say, a JPEG. So it's a PDF file, and I want each page to be a JPEG, and then I'm going to tell it to convert. And then tell it to download, and there it is. Open it. Make sure the files are there before I tell it. And there they are by page number. So what I'm going to do is let's go back one. Come on. There's the zip file. And if you didn't know how to unzip, just right mouse click and drag it a little bit. Well, just right mouse click it. That's all you have to do. Okay, it doesn't realize it's a folder. Okay, it actually created it's a folder within the file. Let's, come on. Move up one level. There we go. And so we take the zip file and we just write and extract. Okay, and it's going to create its own folder. Extract it. Do you need more? Okay, just so I know which it's going to call it. There is the folder and extracted. I click it, it created a folder. So let's take a look at each of the pages. There's page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. And then using any program, let's say I want something, oh God, it looks ugly. So let's say I just want this information right here. So then I say, okay, crop it. And there's that part of the article. Whoops. I don't think it saved it. So I didn't tell it to save, so we'll do that again. And then crop it. And so there's that part of it. And then I can save that as a file and then put that within a document, and I've got that information. So anything from a PDF, you can then make it into a JPEG by using this free website. And let's go ahead and close that. We'll close this. And let's see if there's any questions. Let's see, Marshall, you can also create folders in the desktop, absolutely. An excellent app is Notepad++, which is freeware, which provides multi-paging, built-in autosave, and an excellent text editor. So if you're using a text editor, that's a nice program, and I do use that. Let's see. And let's see, Lloyd mentions there's a neat way to reduce the number of shortcuts on your desktop. Use the library feature in Windows 10. It's been a part of Windows well before Windows 10. And then from Lloyd, using folders on a desktop is great. I use that all the time. I use Microsoft OneDrive. Uses Microsoft OneDrive, formerly SkyDrive, for transferring files. What he was saying is at any time, let's go ahead and let's see, do I need this? I better just minimize it. And we're just going to back down here. And just in case I need this, we'll minimize this. And I think we're done with this, but we'll minimize it. So if I wanted to, I can, and let's see, I can show you what I've done is I have a folder here, and within that folder, I have a bunch of programs. So you can set up a folder anywhere. So if you don't want to do this fences thing, you can do it with folders and set up a folder and then either move shortcuts into the various folders and have them. So I do something like that. Yeah, PDF, there's PDFs, there's a folder called PDFs, and then I got a bunch of them in there. Okay, any comments or other questions? Stan? You're muted, Stan. I'll unmute you. Stan, are you still there?
Yes, definitely.
Any questions or anything from the audience?
Well, comments. I have some comments that I want to make first.
Sure.
When you mentioned hurricane, it occurred to me, if my memory is correct, and I'm not sure, but I believe it was 27 years ago that you and Mike Ungerman and I went to Miami for I believe it was a Tech Data Soft Teach weekend.
Absolutely, that's exactly what it was.
Conference, and we got there. We're checking into the hotel when they said, "Okay, turn around and go home." And Hurricane Andrew was just coming through, and all the tolls were shut off, and we drove up. I think, did we not visit Mike Ungerman's mother a half an hour out of Miami on the way home?
Yep. Yeah, and we were sitting at the hotel looking at the TV, and the hurricane eye was headed right at our hotel. And we got out of there in time to do so.
And I believe it was Harvey that was 13 years ago that really did a number on Houston.
Yeah, well, that's we're still recording, and we've got a lot of people, and it's fun to reminisce, but it doesn't affect a lot of the people. So, but I appreciate you bringing that up. And some other comments you had about some of the things we might have covered before you stop the recording.
No, I don't. Anybody else here in the room have any questions or comments about what Huey covered? Yes.
Yeah, some of the things that we covered in the top 10 Windows 10 tools.
Yes.
A number of those here that you have to have an active Microsoft account in order to use them. Paid Microsoft account to use them. Is that correct?
Were you hearing the question, Huey?
No, I did not.
Okay, Tom Hirsch is asking about mentioning that it looked like some of the top 10 things that you talked about in one of the topics seemed that you had to have an active Microsoft account. And I believe that's often the case, that Microsoft does want you to have an active Microsoft account with a good email address. But I don't
It's
believe
free. It's free.
that's not paid. I don't think you have to
No,
pay.
you don't have to pay. You can use all of the Microsoft Office items online free. You do not have to pay for Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You can do it with a free Microsoft account. You do have to set up an account, but you can even use your Gmail address if you wanted to. But it's I think, a good idea to just set up an Outlook account with your name or with whatever address you want to use, and then use that, and you can sign in with your Microsoft account to do any of those things. Yes, it's a free account, but you do, in most cases, have to have a Microsoft account. Anything else?
Anyone else have any questions or comments? No?
Yeah, I have a
Bob Black has something.
I got an email from Bill Gates asking me to join his, I don't know, Bill Gates discussion group or something. Because I was one of the, well, I still am this Microsoft test person who used to do to test versions of Windows and feedback. So he sent it out to everybody who wanted to know, now that he's retired, do we want to follow his exploits? And I don't know, he hasn't asked me for advice, but supposedly he'll poll the membership or something. Have you heard about that program?
Stan, you're going to have to repeat what he said. I did not.
Yeah, please. I think that makes more sense.
All right.
Where's the mic? Just in the computer?
You're right there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I used to be I still am on some program when they had Windows 10 phones, where I joined this test program where they'd send out, or actually it was Windows phones. I just changed mine to 10, and then when they did things to it, they'd ask me to feedback, and it was kind of a test person. They've discontinued that Windows Phone thing, but anyway, I'm still on their mailing list, and I just got an email within the last month or two from Bill Gates saying that he's forming this group that will follow what he's doing, not necessarily even computer stuff, but then he'll send it out and ask for advice or comments or whatever that is. So I joined it, but I haven't gotten any feedback. So I'm wondering if you've heard of that, or if you're interested, I can send you what he sent me. But,
I'm not really interested, and I appreciate it, but maybe somebody online might be interested. He's into a lot of things that are not technology
correct.
based and so on. He's a philanthropist, and it deals with a lot of those kind of things. And I appreciate it. If anyone is interested, drop me a line, and I'll get the information from Bob. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay. This has been the Central Florida Computer Society Windows Special Interest Group for Sunday, September 8th. I am going to stop the recording, and we can chat a little bit more.